Yep. Good morning, everyone. Right. So last session we discussed about working with data types. We learned about working with the data types. So in JavaScript we learned variables, and now we are going to discuss about the data types. Actually, we call it as do anyone man. Why you are doing online and offline together? Then do that after some time only. No, you're doing. Why you are disturbing environment? At least you need to keep it silent, na? So here we need primitive types to understand. First, we discussed about data types. So what are the data types? We have two important data types: primitive and non-primitive. So first, we are going to learn about primitive types. As we discussed already, what are primitive types? So primitive types they are immutable. Immutable means their structure cannot change dynamically. So another important is they have a fixed range for values. Fixed range for values. Another important, they are stored in memory stack. They are stored in memory stack. Memory stack means, so stack uses the mechanism called last in, first out, first out. So these are primitive data types. Actually, I told you one point. JavaScript is not strongly typed. So another point we said implicitly typed. Implicitly typed. Actually, these words are used in different ways. That means it is not strongly typed. JavaScript is not strongly typed. Means actually JavaScript is weakly typed. If it is not strongly typed means we generally call as weakly typed. So usually many times people will not say it is not strongly typed. Sometimes people directly say it is a weakly typed language. Both are same. That means weakly typed means it is not strongly typed, right? Another point is, I told you implicitly typed. What does this means? Implicitly typed. What does this means? Yesterday we discussed it. Implicitly typed means the data type is determined according to value assigned. That means the data type is not determined until or unless the value is assigned. That means when value is assigned, then data type is known. That means the data type is not defined. The data type is defined to a variable according to the value assigned. When you assign a value, then it becomes number or string or boolean. Actually, this is also called as dynamic types. Dynamic types. So if anybody asked the questions in that way, right, what is dynamic? Oh. So what is dynamic type? If anyone asks like what is dynamic type, right? What is dynamic type means it is same implicit type. Dynamic type means the data type of any variable is determined according to the value assigned. That means, so for example, var x, what is its type? If there is no value assigned, it is treated as undefined. If there is no value defined, it is treated as undefined. Once you assign a value into it, then it is what type? Number. When you store some another value into it, it becomes what? Boolean, like that. So data type is determined according to the value assigned. Then it is called as what? Dynamic type, implicit type or dynamic type. So because these days we use these words regularly, like weakly typed, like dynamic types. So you should not get confused with these terms, because interviewer may ask the same question in different way. That means if he asks what is weakly typed, that means implicitly typed. Weakly typed means not strongly typed. Dynamic types means implicitly typed, right? Both are equal. So primitive types, usually immutable. I told you yesterday why they are called immutable, because they have a fixed structure. The structure cannot change dynamically. That means wherever you use them, they have a fixed range, minimum and maximum. Within the range only you can handle that. And they store in a stacked memory. That means the last value goes in, that is the first value that comes out. Now, JavaScript primitive types, as I told you, JavaScript primitive types. We have, what are the primitive types? We have a number, and we have a string, and we have a boolean. We have null, and we have undefined. And newly added symbol is one type. Symbol is one type. Very newly added, very recent, people use another called big int. That's very recently used data type actually. So but it is better to know these very recent types also, right? So number, string, boolean, null, undefined, symbol, and begins. These are the data types we have. So what are these types and how do we handle these types? Let's see. Means what is the type? Remember, there is no type restriction. Type restriction means, so in a variable, you cannot say that only number can be stored. You can store anything. We have to explicitly restrict. Explicitly restrict means we have to write a logic. Through the logic only we can prevent any another value. But strongly typed languages are not like that. Suppose C, C++, Java, .NET. These all languages, what they have? Strongly typed nature. That means you say a variable integer. It can handle only integer. In JavaScript, we don't have that. But we should know, if I am dealing with numbers, what are treated as numbers? What are treated as numbers? For example, see. First important in the data types, we will see number. We'll see number type. Actually, it represents a numeric value. And according to JavaScript, what is a numeric value? According to JavaScript, a numeric value can be, it can be signed integer. It can be unsigned integer. It can be floating point. It can be double. It can be decimal. Decimal. It can be, so it can be exponent. So it can be, so hexa. It can be octa. It can be binary. These all comes under number type. These all are numeric types, number types. So I already told you we have a new type also. What is that? Big int? Big int type also. Big int type also. This all comes under numbers. That means JavaScript treats these as numbers. That means if you store any of these in a variable, then it is considered as a number. What is meant by signed integer? Signed integer means it will have a negative sign. Negative sign. And it can have some value. Unsigned means without sign. Without sign means obviously it is a positive value. Floating point means, floating point, it can have maximum two integers and maximum 2 decimal places. Then it is called as 2 decimal places. Then it is called as float. We call as floating point. If the integer is more than 2, that means if integer is 3. If integer is 3, then it is called as, this is called as double. It is called as double. That means we call this as double. So if there is integer only up to 2, then it is float. If it is up to 3, then it is double. If it is up to more than 3, anything is called as decimal. Decimal. And very important here is actually many technologies, decimal places after dot, fractions, you can have 7 or 8 decimals. But in JavaScript, 29 places. 29 decimal places it allows. That means a lengthy result also can be displayed. Lengthy result also can be displayed. That is decimals. Actually, here, when you are dealing with numbers, right? So floating point, double, decimal is decided based on how many integers are there, how many fractions are there. So, but all are numbers only, right? You don't have different data types. Means in one variable, you can store all of this. Any of these is considered as what type? Number type. That means, for example, exponent. Exponent means it will have E, 2E3. It comes as exponent. It is an exponent. Actually, this refers to 2 into 10 to the power of 3. 10 to the power of 3. So 10 to the power of 3. That means it refers to how much? 2000. This is a number. E refers to a numeric. That means it is an exponent type. We call as exponent type. Hexa. You know hexadecimal colors in general HTML, CSS, you might. Hexadecimal means it will have colors. Actually, you know the range of hexa color range. What is the color range? 0 to F. 0 to F is considered as what? Hexa. Hexa. It can be 6 character. It can be 6 character, or it can be how many? 3 character. Actually, here it is 6 character. In colors, you can have 3 character or 6 character. Here you have to define a 6 character hexa. And you know the range of hexa will be 0 to F. You know that, right? In HTML colors and all. Octa uses a O as a reference. O as a reference. And it is used with some numeric value. Numeric value. Where these octa, hex are used, I will tell you. In later situations, we will understand. For that, we need to learn memories and allocations. Actually, binary also. Hexa, octa, binary. These all are used in dealing with memories. While working with memories in our JavaScript, I will discuss about these values, how to handle them, right? Usually binary will be 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, something like this, right? So these are binary type, binary. Big int is nothing but, big int is a new type actually. So you can define any number with an NS suffix. NS suffix, it refers to big int. Big int. Usually big ints are used for storing a binary object. They are used for storing a binary object. Actually, binary object is used for that. That means binary object means, like, suppose you want to store a photo. If you want to store a photo, photo is to be converted into a binary form. A photo must be converted into a binary form. If a photo have to be converted into a binary form, then how do we manage? So that to store that, because photos are huge, if they convert them into binary, it gives a large number. And yesterday I showed you that number type is having only minimum and maximum some 9 value. Right now, storing big integers like binary type form of images is not possible. Actually, binary type images, if you have learnt HTML, image types, JPG, PNG, GIF. Actually, there will be a binary type image called bitmap, BMP. Mostly when you are storing the images in MS Paint, they will give that extension BMP. BMP is what? Bitmaps. Bitmaps. That means they are big integers actually. Suppose you see here. So you see when I am saving any image here. So you see there will be a type called bitmap. So you can see this is bitmap. 16 color bitmap. PMP 256 24-bit bitmaps. These bitmaps are used for converting the image in a binary form. But these days we don't prefer this much. Earlier we used to do that, but these days we don't prefer of converting a picture in binary. What we do is, in any location you want to store image, then we will store only its path, and that image we upload to server. That server path we use. We don't use binary conversions. That is not a good idea in the modern web. Why? Because earlier people have to do that. Now it's not good. For example, I will show you. Suppose I will show some APIs. Suppose there is NASA API. This is NASA API. API.nasa.gov. This is official NASA people API. NASA people provide some data to developers so that developers can design science technology related websites, and they can use data from NASA directly. They don't need to Google and waste the time, because on Google also, if you search for any space, Mars related photos and videos, all are fake, because who went there to take photos and all? Only people like ISRO, NASA. So these people have their original data, which they provide to public. And you see, it says that means, so this is an API portal. The main objective is to provide application developers. They can give access to the scientific data. That means, suppose you are showing some weather forecasting and all in your websites, NASA helps you. For that, they provide free APIs to you. right? That means now you see their data, how it looks like. When they give the data, suppose I am using Mars rover photos. I'm using this Mars rover photos, and you can see in this the photos data. This you will able to understand in next level. And you see there is image source. Image source means picture. And what they given in their data, image source they given as a string, not a binary. They given as a string. Actually, this is the path of image, and you can directly access that image path. It is present in their server. That is the path of image. This is their image path. So earlier we don't have like that. Earlier what we used to do is several years now, because the recent days we are not using this. Recent days what we are doing, we are directly uploading the picture on servers, and their path we are storing in our database, and that path we are accessing and using it. So we are not converting into binary that people even do today. So, but that is not good and recommended in the modern web, because several browsers can't allow converting binary to object, object to binary. They will block them. That is the reason. So we better prefer string type of images. A path is required. Bigint is used for storing such data. Not only photos, videos, so photos which you want to convert into binary and store. Then we can use this bigint, right? For example, just one example I will show here. See, because we will use them in different examples. We will design different examples and we will see. So here I will show you here data type. In the data type, now we have a script. So in the script, we are defining a function, and in the function, suppose I'm just configuring, just no need of a function, just we can write like a document dot write. Okay, here I am declaring a variable var x. I'm defining 2e3. So 2e3, actually 2e3 is binary. So I'm giving here, so here x is equal to x. 2 is 3, it is a number type actually. And what it is going to return? It is going to return, so it is going to return this result, 2000. So suppose I want to define binary. Binary is 0b, actually 0b1010, like that binaries will be there. Suppose I am writing here, so 0b1010, this is a number type. That's a binary. It is a binary of 10 actually. It is binary of 10. That means you have the values, octa values, 0, some 768, like that. These are octa values. We have hexa values. What is, so 768? This is 0, O, like this. We have a value like O and all. We have hexa also. What is the hexa values? This is octa value. How this octa works, I will tell you. What is the coding concept behind this? Later we will learn. These are octa values. We have hexa values. Hexa values means 0f. So x values, d. We have references. So we can give such references. How many characters hexa will be? 6 characters hexa and all. If it is big int, what we have to define? We have to say some 2n, that is big int. That means now actually I define 2n. This is a big int. That means you see it says 2. So, but what is that n refers to? Where binary forms we have to use, I will show you. We will see in big int. I will show you how to handle that. But actually there is a separate big int type. I am just keeping this in number. right? We are defining in number. So usually what is the purpose of these? You are going to see in different equations we will handle. How many decimal places maximum it can give? 29 decimal places. You can give maximum 29 decimal places. So these all comes under which category? Number type. We will use them in different examples. We will implement them and we will see how to handle them. But here, one more important thing you should know is that means now you know how to store a number. That means x is equal to 10, somewhere x is equal to 2e3. So where x is equal to 0, 0, 7, 6 like this. We can store somewhere x equal to 0b1010 like this. These are all different types. Now, another important you need to know is generally when a value is stored, when a value is stored and you are expecting a number. When your value is stored, when you are expecting a number, how to verify that it is a number or not? So JavaScript is not strongly typed. So we have to explicitly verify the number type by using isNaN function. While working with numbers, if you are strictly expecting only number, you don't want to allow anything other than number. Then how do we verify that and how do we restrict only number? How to verify and restrict numbers in JavaScript? By using a function called isNaN. IsNaN, actually it is a Boolean method. It is a Boolean function that returns true if value is not a number. So when you are dealing with numbers and you are expecting only number, then you have to use this mechanism. So see here now, I am defining, so where age, I am taking prompt. I am saying enter age. And I want to verify that they entered only number. Anything other than that not allowed. Then what we have to do is we write a condition. If isNaN is not a number, which one is not a number? Age. Then we will put a message document.write. So please provide a numeric value, or we can simply say age must be number. That's what the value. Else, so document.write, I said your age how much, whatever they entered in age. Now this is used for verifying. Suppose I entered some John, then it says age must be number. This is validation. That means validation is verifying and you are making sure that contradictory values are not stored. Contradictory means the value that you are not expecting are not stored in that, only the expected value. Suppose you entered number, then it says okay. Anything you entered, suppose you entered some 3a, it must be a number. So you entered some 3.2, then it is okay. So you can configure that and define. This is one important point, how to verify whether the value is a number. Another important point is JavaScript provides parsing methods JavaScript provides parsing method to convert a numeric string into number. A numeric string, not a string. That means a numeric string can be converted into a number. What is considered as a numeric string? This is interesting. So a numeric string starts with number. A numeric string starts with number and can contain characters. Can contain characters. That is numeric string. That means, for example, I said in the quotations 10. It is a string. It is a string, but it can be converted into number because it is starting with number. Suppose I return 10A. So that means it can be converted. This can be converted. Can you convert this also? It is having a string. Can we convert this also? Yes, this can be converted. This can be converted. That is what the meaning of that sentence. Can convert a numeric string. That means numeric string actually starts with a number. And it can have a string. Then what happens is, whenever string comes, it will stop. Up to number it can convert. Actually, suppose I have A10. Can it convert? It cannot convert. So it cannot be converted. Or you can simply say invalid. This is invalid. Suppose you are defining 10A20. This can be converted. Yes, this can be converted. Then what will be the result? I will tell you. So what is the point? What is the concept? I will tell you how we can manage that. Here, generally, when we are dealing with numbers, these are the numeric things. Now the point here is, how do we configure? Let's see. Suppose I am entering some value. This is very much required always. Suppose I am taking any value from any element in a HTML page, will be a string type. By default, any value you take from any HTML element, it may be from a drop down, it may be from text box, it may be from radius or prompt. Everything is a string. Everything is a string. That means even you enter a number, so it will treat it as a string in doing some manipulations, calculations. In that calculations, it will work as a string calculation. For example, so here I defined var age is equal to prompt. I asked enter age. And what I will do is, so document dot write. So your age, how much? The value of age. After that, break, line break. Then I am giving here another document dot write. So next year, so you will be how much? That means I'm just giving here age plus 1. Next year, how much? Age plus 1. We are adding plus 1. Now here, observe carefully. So in this, I'm entering some 32. Your age is 32, but it is 32-1 next year. That means you entered the value from a prompt. So it verifies that you entered numeric, but it is a numeric string. Numeric string means it presents as number. but it is a string. It cannot be used in calculations. It is a numeric string. That is what important is. Numeric string means it is presented as number. It is presented as number. So now what happens is it is presented as number, but it is not used as number in calculation. It is used as a string. That is the reason one is concatenated. It is concatenated to that particular value. Then what we have to do is to deal it like a number, and not only just displaying but also in calculation. Then we need to convert this, because this prompt is a string type. You can see the prompt return type is string. Not only prompt, text box, radios, checkbox, any element internally they are what type? String. Then whatever number you entered, it is treated as a numeric string, and it will directly used in general calculations as concatenation and all. So for that, what we have to do is we can convert the age into number now. We have to convert. How to convert? Your wish. You can convert while calculating, or you can convert directly while taking. While taking input, you can convert. That will be better, because every time I don't need to convert, right? Then what we do is, for that we use a parsing function called parse int. Parse int, and whatever the value they entered through prompt. So whatever value they entered with the prompt, that is stored in age, in which format? Number. Now age is what type? Number type. The age is number type. So it is allowing that number. So now see here, interesting part you will see now. I entered here, so some 32, then you will be 33. That's okay. Now observe carefully. I entered, suppose 32, 33A, A, B, C, something. Is it able to convert this also? Yes, it can convert this also. Why? Because any numeric value, any numeric string means starting with number. It can be converted. It can be converted. It will convert. That means it will use 33. Suppose I entered 23, ABC, and 32. Now it will take only 23. Once it encounters a string, it stops translating. It stops translating. So whatever number you enter after that string, they are not valid. It will not take. Then it is going to do only 23. For example, you entered ABC, then it is not a number. Then immediately it shows not a number. Not a number. And you entered, suppose, A23 or 32. This is also not a number. Why it is not a number? It will be treated as number only when it starts with number. If it is not starting with the number, then it will display as not a number. This is important to understand. That is the string concept, how it handles. Right? Now, important is actually, this is okay. But if you are dealing with fractions, that means you are dealing with decimals, then parseInt is not good, because parseInt will round the value. ParseInt is going to round the value. That means we need parsing methods. What are the parsing methods? So the parsing methods, what we have parseInt, and we have parsefloat. We have these two. When to use float? Remember, float, you can use this for even decimal and all. There is nothing like parse decimal and all. Remember, decimal, float, all these are developers' words, right? JavaScript treats them as only one type. What is the type? Number type, right? Developer assumes that it is a float or it is a decimal, because that is common sense in mathematics. Because any computer programming language, this is a very basic thing, right? Like if a dot came, that means it is not a direct integer. It is an what? Float. And we know basic computer programming in that. So if there are 3 decimal or 3 integers, then we call it as double. We call as double. It doesn't means that it is a type. JavaScript not a typed language, right? It's not a typed language. So remove that from your brain, right? Float, double and all. That means those are just developer's idea. That means if how a developer talks about a decimal, he says that a float is there, a decimal is there. If he says that a number is there, then again doubt will come. Which number? Right? So that is the reason to avoid this kind of confusion. Developers use these words, right? But JavaScript don't have float, double, decimals. A developer's terminology is this, right? So in other technologies, they have float for float, integer for integer. Here, one type can handle all of these, right? So technically, if you are dealing with such values, suppose I am dealing with such values. Suppose I am defining here where I said rate. So here I defined rate. So I said prompt. We are using prompt. So I am defining interest rate. I'm using interest rate. So interest rate. So here we defined a value here. So in percent, the value in percent. Now I configured here. So I am doing some calculation where. So interest is equal to rate. So by 12. So by 100, like this, I am calculating. That is interest rate. Some interest rate I am defining. Slash is division, right? We are doing something. Now what happens is I am printing this value. I am printing the value document.write. So the interest is equal to how much? Whatever is in interest. Now what happens is, so we are defining some option here. Suppose rate in percent, I say 12%, right? When I define 12%, it is not a number. Actually, percent means what we have to define. We need to just give 12. That is 0.001, like that it is. Suppose you are taking from a text box or some other, then it will not able to handle the operation. It says it is a number. It's not a number. Then what we do, we need to translate this. How to translate this? Suppose we are using, suppose they used this one. Okay, fine. That means if I am doing like this, suppose 12.34, then you see it shows the decimal. Now what is problem is, if you are taking from a text box, you are taking from a drop down and you are handling this, then it will treat it as what type? String type. Then how do you convert that? Parse. Parse int cannot be used. Why parse int? Because if you are expecting, suppose 12.45, parse int will not take the fractions. Then it will take only 12. It will not take the fractions. So we want the fractions also to be taken. In that case, we don't use parse int. We use what? Parse float. Because we are expecting that the value contains some fractions. Then it will do according to that. Otherwise, what it will do, it will round your value. Suppose you entered 3.5, then it says only 3. Right? 4.5, it will take only 4. That is the reason if you are expecting fractions, then what you have to do, you need to define parse float. So the parse int and parse float. That is one important option, right? How you manage. While working with numbers, these are basic things. First point, what are considered as numbers? Second point, how do you verify that it is a number? And how do we convert it into a number? A string cannot be converted into a number. That means don't think that A is converted into number, right? So it is numeric string can be converted into number. That means it's a number starting with numeric value as a string type. It we can convert into that number. So, and how do we convert them? By using parsing methods. We have parse int and parse float. These are usually done by number types. That means how we can deal with numerics, how we can manage with numeric. And very important is when you are working with numbers, another major concept you need to know about numbers is generally numbers have to deal with a lot of mathematical operations. Numbers need to be managed with a lot of mathematical operations. So to handle the numbers, actually, we have so many mathematical operators. That means JavaScript provides. So various operators to handle numeric values, numeric expressions. Actually, to handle numeric expressions, various operators. We will discuss that in separate operators concept. But why we need to learn this, I will tell you. The concept is JavaScript provides various operators to handle numeric expressions, number expressions. Now, one of the main problem as a JavaScript developer we will face is, I will show you one point here. Suppose I am showing you some HDFC bank. This HDFC bank is having an EMI calculator. You see personal loan EMI calculator. It is having an EMI calculator. Usually EMI calculator looks like this. We will design this calculator with the knowledge of these operators and all. We will do that. So we will try to design this calculator. In this calculator, user can select how much amount he need. User can select the years, number of years. User can select the interest rate. And after that, when he clicks calculate, based on that, how much amount to be paid every month, it will show. That means it is going to display monthly EMI. Now, this is designed by a web developer. And this is done using JavaScript. Now the question is, how we get this result? What is the formula behind this calculation? That means that a web developer need not to know. Why? Because means you cannot say that you need to be a mathematician to be a web developer. But you have to build application for various business, and they have a lot of calculations. And they want all those calculations in their website. Then what they will do? They will say that you don't know how to calculate EMI, no problem. We will give you the formula of EMI. That means they will give you EMI formula. But that is a mathematical formula. How you will convert into JavaScript? That means let's check what is EMI formula. That means we will Google, we will search for EMI formula. And you see EMI formula, they given this formula. This is the EMI formula. How come you can write this in JavaScript? That is the challenging one for developer. Now a JavaScript developer need to understand his numbers, and he need to understand his operators. He need to convert this mathematical formula into an JavaScript formula. Then he can handle the calculation. For that, knowing numbers is not enough. Knowing about the operators is also not enough. Because what operator you will do to calculate power? That means knowing about operators is also not enough. That means generally, what are the mathematical operators you use? What are the mathematical operators you will use? Numeric. So we have plus for addition. We have minus for subtraction. We have asterisk for what? Multiplication. So we have slash for division, and we have percentage. This is for modulus division, means for reminders, right? We have double exponent. This is for power. But that is actually recently added into JavaScript from ES5 onwards. That means if I say 2 double asterisk, that means 2 double asterisk 3. That means 2 to the power of 3. That is 8. That is how actually it calculates, right? We have increment, we have decrement. These are all mathematical basic operations. But these are not enough. These operators are not enough. Even we have a power that is not suitable in every situation. Now, these are not enough. So JavaScript provides math object. JavaScript provides math object to handle numeric expressions. It provides math object to handle numeric expressions, and mathematical operations. That means a developer can convert a mathematical equation, mathematical or scientific equation also, or scientific equation into JavaScript expression by using math object. By using math object, we can do that. You can do that. JavaScript provides a lot of math objects. That means you have, so we have math.py. We have like math.sqrt. We have like math.min. So we have like math.max. We have like math.average. Right. So we have like, these are all functions actually. So math.cos. We have like math.sin. All these, like we have math.power. These are all so many mathematical functions. So when you are specially dealing with numbers, you need to know this. By using these, you can convert an formula of mathematics into JavaScript. Then only you can design such concepts. For example, we will design that EMI calculator. I will show you. For example, now based on that, now how to write this formula? That means I will copy this image here. Suppose I am opening here, Paint. Yeah. Now, how do we write this formula now? How do we handle this formula? That means this formula we want. That formula we want. This formula we want to convert into JavaScript. How do you convert the formula into JavaScript? Actually, for that now, we have to write the equations like this. You see now, we will define here. So what is the result? That means we need to store the result. So where I'm storing the result where EMI is equal to. Now, what is the expression? We will collect P, R, all those variables, right? We can write P. After that, into means asterisk. After that, R, R. After that, into. After that, so after into, you are writing a parenthesis. In the parenthesis, so 1 plus. It is having 1 plus. And actually observe carefully. That's not the way you have to translate it. It is actually parenthesis is having 1 plus R all together to the power of n. To the power of n. So here we need to write math.pow. Math.pow. What is math.pow? 1 plus R. That means 1 plus R. Math power. So raised to n. That's how we do. That means the power of, that means 1 plus R is raised to n. Is raised to n. That means this is 1 plus R. This is together na. This 1 plus R is raised to the power of n. That is what you have to do. Math.power can raise this to the n power. To raise to the n. That is how we need to do. After that, what is there? By. That means divided by. Division. Right? Now again, math.pow. And what is it? So here we are defining 1 plus R, comma, n, and minus 1. That is how we need to convert a formula. So this is basic technique of converting a mathematical equation into JavaScript. For this, we need help of lot of mathematical functions. And that is possible by using this. We will design that example. We will create that EMI calculator. But for that, some more points after discussing, we will go into that, right? Initially, we need to know this concept. That means how a formula is calculated. Means any formula given to you is a mathematical, because business uses mathematical formulas. But those formulas you cannot implement exactly as they are in your JavaScript. You need to translate them. You need to convert them into that format. Then you need to manage. Without this, there will be no business at all, right? Almost in every business you need. Even a health website also have a BMI calculator. That means you take a health website like a gym or something. They have a BMI calculator. Body mass calculator. How many calories you need to burn. So what proteins you need to take. The calculation is there behind that. And these all formulas your client will give to you. What is your responsibility? Your responsibility is just to convert that mathematical or scientific formula into JavaScript. Then only you can manage that. These things you will learn, you will see. But for that, you need one operation. What is it? Math. Math is an JavaScript object which handles these kind of operation. Just example I am giving. We will implement later. So in the next level, we will design that. We will see how to handle it. This is all you need to know about number type. And one more question here is, so how do developer knows whether the type is a number or not? One concept is NaN. NaN is to compare whether the input value is a number or not, right? So you can use, actually, you can use type of operator to check the data type of any reference. To check the data type of any reference, you can a reference value, any reference value, you can use type of. That means suppose in a variable some x, what is stored in that variable, if you want to know, is it a number or a string? Then we can simply use the option like document dot write. You can just write here type of x. So it is used to return which data type it is. Actually, what is difference between is and nan? It is only for number. But if I want to check string, if I want to check boolean, if I want to check null or undefined, then type of. Is and nan means if anyone asks what is difference between is and nan and type of. Is and nan just verifies is it a number, right? So if it is not a number, is it a string? No, it may be a boolean, it may be a null, it may be a undefined. Then how a developer knows that it is not a number, but what it is? That means if it is not a number, you can't say that it is a string, right? That means if it is not a number, it can be something else. What is it? If you are not concerned about other types, you are concerned about only number or not, then is and nan okay. But if you are trying to check if it is not a number, then is it a boolean? Is it a string? If it is a boolean, do one other work. If it is a string, do another work. In that case, type of is important. Type of is important. So we can verify the data type by using this. That means you can use like this. I will show here all these options. Let me close. Yeah. We can see here simply, we can configure here type of. Suppose I defined var age, same. Prompt is equal to enter age. And I want here, you see document.write. Document.write. So suppose age is. So I want to give here type of what? Age. And you can see that by default, it is going to tell you that 32, it is a string. Because it knows that anything you entered from a prompt or a text box or anything that is in string type. That is in string type. So it is a string type. So what we have to do, suppose we will convert this now. Parse int, then it is a number. It is a number type. That means you entered here. So you defined something. So it is saying it is a number. Now what you can do is you can verify whether it is a number or not. For example, you see now I am writing if age. So here I say type of age. Type of age is equal to a number. If type of age is equal to number, then I will say that. So document.write. So you will be how much? So suppose age plus 1. Like this I define. Now else what we have to do, it's not a number. That means we can check other conditions. Else if it is string, if it is boolean, it is null, undefined. Is and nan okay. Is and nan can verify only number. But here you see, suppose I said document.write, please enter. Yeah. Please enter. So a number, enter a number. Right. And you can see that here I am entering. Suppose A, then it says you will be nan. Why it is nan? It is not verifying number. It is not verifying number. It is just returning the type. It is returning the type. But we said that if the type is number, and it can do that calculation here. So here it is age plus 1. It is not doing any calculation. For example, I am using here parsing. Parse int. What is the parse int? What? Age. I'm doing their parsing. That means I entered here. Suppose I said 32. Now it is 33. Why it is unable to parse here? It is unable to parse. It is able to parse. It parsed there. But why it is unable to verify this? Why it is unable to verify this? Because it is verifying number type. And this number type, you can see this number type. This indicates that age is what type? Number. But this is verifying as a string type number. String. That means what it is doing is, it is converting your value to number. It is checking that it is a number, but that number is verified as a string number. Numeric string, I told you. No? It is treated as a numeric string, and it is unable to do calculation on that. So that is the reason these are not good idea for verifying and doing manipulations. These are to verify what data type they are. Based on that, you can handle manipulations. But very important, make sure that you are not directly doing the manipulations before verifying. That means don't convert before verifying. Suppose if I am not doing here, right? That means I am not using parse int, and I am writing here. I'm just using prompt. Now you see I entered, suppose alphabet, please enter a number. I entered some number, then it says please enter number again. I need two types of verifications now. That means what we have to do, first convert the number. After converting the number, check the number. After checking the number, you found that it is a number. After that, but you found that number, but it is not converted into number. Type of is not converting into number. Is NaN what it is doing? It is converting into number. So this is not converting number. It is just verifying. Is it number or not? If it is not converted, then it cannot do calculations. Then again, I have to convert it. This is multi-level of converting. That is the reason we don't use this for numeric. So verifying the types. So it is just used to know the type. It is not for comparing the types. It is good for knowing the type. That means you can know the type. After knowing the type, based on that, you can handle any type of calculation. Right? So that for that reason, we need two ways now. Again, we have to write what? Parse int. Here we have to take a number first. After verify with the number. After verifying with the number, convert into number. That means what type of is doing? Is it converting to number? It is not converting to number. It is only verifying. Is it a number? Is it a number? But verifying is it a number is not enough. You need to convert into number. Then only these kind of operations can happen. That is one of the major problem that you will face. That is the reason I showed you already that point. That means, so check the data type is this. But if you want to check is it a number and convert into number and to do that operation directly better, which method you have to use? Is NaN. Is NaN, right? It is used for that. This is another technique. Actually, type of you will learn when we will learn about operators, right? But I just given one example here. That type of is used to know what is the type, data type, that is of that particular variable. So this is basically how we can deal with numbers, numeric types. Now what we will do is, now using these numeric types, we will try to design one simple example. taking the value, converting them and doing that. For that, we will design this calculator. We will say EMI calculator, right? So this HDFC Bank's EMI calculator, we will try to create this calculator to understand how the numbers are handled. We will try to design this EMI calculator. We can replicate the same type of calculator with our JavaScript, little bit bootstrap we can use, and we can design this calculator. And what it have to do, it should calculate and show us the return result, how much it is. I hope you are clear. The number type. We will try this example in the next session. We'll discuss in the next session. It will take entire session to understand this design and functionality. Then I can give you some task based on this. Then we can go with string type, boolean type and all. In every data type, we will take one sample application. We will try to design that using that particular type so that you have a clarity on the types. Okay. That we'll see on Monday. In Monday session, we will discuss about that, right? If you have any doubts, we can take the doubts now. Okay. Right. Yeah. Again, our session will be on Monday. Right. Yes, Sachin. What is your doubt?
Is it a good practice to define a